Hi, this is Mrs. Zhu, and we're working on homework number 13 on scientific notation. The first problem here, because we're multiplying and that's what the parentheses represents, we're going to multiply the 5 and the 2 first, since we are simplifying and asked to do that. So that makes 10. And then I have multiplying the 2 powers, 10 to the negative third power times 10 to the second power. When I multiply powers, I need to add the exponents. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to add the negative 3 plus the 2 using T for teams. I get times 10 to the negative first power. Now, when I write in scientific notation, this number has to be between 1 and 10. Now, I may not have been very specific about that in class, but the number that is here has to be greater than or equal to 1. So it could be equal to 1. Or it has to be less than 10, so it actually can't equal 10. Basically, it's got to be a decimal that's after that 1. So I have to actually move the decimal between the 1 and the 0. Okay, that means I move the decimal 1 space to the left, so I have 1.0 times 10, and because I moved it 1 space to the left, that means I need to add 1 to the exponent negative 1, meaning that the exponent will be 0. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that. And if you notice, this number is just actually not a very large number at all, and it's just the number 1. So typically we, even if we write it in scientific notation, we would write it like that to represent that. Okay. Okay, and then number 3, so I am just working through the odd questions. Number 3, I'm going to multiply 8 times 4, which is 32. Then I'm going to take the exponents here, times it with 10 to the power of now 2 added with negative 2 is going to give us 0. Okay, now 32 is not a number between 1 and 10, so I need to change that and add a decimal. So I'm going to do 3.2, meaning that the decimal was back here. I moved it once to the left, 1 left, okay, which means I'm going to add 1 to the exponent right here. Okay, so add 1 to the 0. So I'm going to get times 10 to the positive 1. I'm going to write that a little neater, I'm sorry. Power of 1. Okay, number 5. I'm going to multiply 2.6 times 2.3. Remember, when I multiply decimals, I don't actually need to line them up. I can just place the one with more integers in the top. 7, 0, 12, 5. Okay, and then I get 5.98. Decimal goes there because there's 1, 2. There's 2, so I'm going to go 1, 2. That's how I get 5.98 times. I'm going to multiply the powers by adding the exponent negative 4 and positive 3, giving me negative 1. I don't need to change it anymore because it's already in scientific notation. Okay, number 7, I'm going to write each number in scientific notation. Okay, so I know that I'm going to take this number 2,820, drop the 0 and write 2.82 because the decimal should go in between the first and second number. I'm going to multiply that by 10. I'm going to find the exponent. I know there's a decimal behind the 0 in 2,820. I had placed the decimal here between the 2 and the 8, so I'm going to count how far they are apart. 1 space, 2 space, 3 spaces. So I'm going to write 3, and it happens to be a positive 3 because 2,820 is a number greater than 1. So if the number is greater than 1, okay, if x is greater than 1, then I use a positive exponent. Okay, if it's less than 1, then I'm going to use a negative. Okay, whole numbers, big numbers, positive for big numbers, negative for small numbers. Okay, number 9. I want to place some commas here. 6,500,000. I'm going to write 6.5. So I am going to put a decimal right here. And there is a decimal back here, so I'm going to times it by 10, figure out how far they are away from each other to get my exponent number here. So it's 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5 space, 6 spaces. I'm going to do 6. Do I want positive or do I want negative? Well, 6 billion is quite a large number, so definitely positive. Large number, big. Number 11. 11, I know that it's a small number just looking at it because it's a decimal. So I know that it's going to be a negative when I look up here. So just to make sure I remember that. I see a 4, 8, and a 2, placing the decimal in between the 4 and the 8. Times it by 10. Then I'm going to take the decimal here, put 1 over here, count the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. 5. And remember it was small number, so negative 5 for me. And on number 13, the back side, I'm going to take this scientific number, write it into standard notation. So I'm going to look at the 6. That's going to tell me how many times to move the decimal. So 6 means 6 times. The decimal is going to move 6 to the right. Right because it's a positive. Left if it was negative. So I have 7.58. So there's my decimal right here between the 7 and the 5. So I'm going to move it once, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my decimal at the end, and this is how many zeros I'm going to add. Happen to add 5 zeros. Answer is 0.0000758, my final answer. And that's a pretty small number. But I just realized, actually, I was just about to double check, and I actually went in the wrong direction, even though I said right. Whoops. So let's redo that. You know what? We all make mistakes, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right ends here. So I'm going to add 4 zeros. So when you are getting your answer, please do not look at the 6 and think that I need to add 6 zeros. Actually, in fact, it's all about moving the decimal. So here's my final answer now, 7,580,000. That makes more sense since the exponent was positive. So that is a very good way to double check your answers when you work out your question. And you do want to do that, do a little double check. Number 15, I'm going to take 8.44. The negative 5 tells me that I move the decimal how many times? 5 times. Good. To the left. Yes. So decimal's here. Goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add a decimal. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Final answer. This is a small number. I'm going to double check. Yes, it's a small number with a negative exponent, so that does make sense. Woo! And the last question on this video. 3.06, taking the negative 6, tells me to move the decimal how many times? 6 times. Which direction? Good, to the left. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Add my decimal. I'm adding how many zeros? There are 5 zeros in front of that 3. So decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 306 is my final answer. See you tomorrow in class.